Thank you for the introduction, and it's nice being in this summit. It's a wonderful thing to bring experts together to talk about cybersecurity because it's one of the major things that is very, very essential, especially when it comes to a place where technology is applied. So this morning I'll be talking about human factors in information security, the insider threats. And the question is, who can you trust this day? I believe at the end of the presentation, we should be able to answer that question. Who can you trust? Whether a colleague in the office, the CEO of your organization, a friend, or even yourself, can you trust yourself? So we'll be answering this question in this presentation. Thank God Mr. Philip has also helped in a greater way to touch some of the areas I would have loved to also dwell on. But in the course of the presentation, I'll quickly move to those parts that he has not talked about. So we're talking about the insider threat in information security. What is actually the information security? And according to the geeks4geeks.org, information security is basically the practice of preventing unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification, inspection, recording, or destruction of information to ensure the following objectives: confidentiality, integrity, and availability are achieved. So the primary objective of information security is to ensure that these three things are achieved ultimately. That's the confidentiality of the information. And by confidentiality, we simply means information is not disclosed to unauthorized individual. For example, you see people disclosing their passwords. We have in some organizations where I worked before, somebody will tell you, I don't know what is happening. The system is not working. I don't know what is going on. And you ask him, okay, log on to it. Let's see what the issues are. And he's telling you, no, you can, you're an expert now. You can log on to it yourself. And he's giving you his password already. So we need to discourage staff from giving out passwords to unauthorized person. Even if the person is your boss, you are not expected to disclose this. So ensuring the confidentiality of the information is preserved, and also the integrity of the information. And by integrity, we mean maintaining accuracy and completeness of data. For example, there are some organizations where employee has exited, and yet they are still collecting salary. You now start to wonder, an employee exited from human resources, but in finance, in their payroll, the person is still collecting salary. So that shows that the information about that person lack integrity, because when an employee exits from human resource, the information in payroll or in finance should also indicate that he has exited. So we must ensure the integrity, consistency of the information. And then the last one there is the availability of the information, meaning that as at the time you need the information, you are able to get it. The information is actually available as at the point when the information is needed. I'll go to the next slide. Mr. Philip has talked a lot about insider threat. According to Homeland Security in the US, they define an insider threat as the threat that an employee or a contractor will use his or her authorized access wittingly or unwittingly to do harm to the security of an organization. And insider threat is not concerned about coming from the internet to access the systems or the servers of the organization. He's talking about the threat behind the firewall, the threat behind the IDS, behind the intrusion detection system, the threat coming from an insider. And that's actually what we are here to address. And we should also know that, we all understand that there are literally three elements of successful organizational transformation. And that is the people, the process, and the technology. Unfortunately, most organizations dwell more on the process and the technology. We spend much money on the technology. We spend money on developing process, but we pay little or no attention to the people who drives all this. And that is actually the weakest link that we need to focus more. The people themselves are the greatest assets to the organization. At the same time, they can also be the greatest threats to the organization. In fact, they can bring down the whole organization in a jiffy. And Mr. Philip has talked about reasons why employees get into that. We have types of threats that has also been talked about, and we talked about the malicious insiders. Those are people who are inside the organization and they are bent on destroying the organization or working their way to access sensitive data of the organization with the intention of harming the organization. Those are the malicious insiders. But there are other class of insiders. Those are the inadvertent insiders. Those are the insiders that unintentionally cause damage to the organization. I'll go to the motives behind the internal insider threat. Mr. Philip has dwelt much on this too, the financial gain, because some people want to make money, so they have to do certain things, let out certain information, maybe to the opponent. And revenge by disgruntled staff, he has dwelt much on that. Curiosity too. Junior staff was curious of certain things, want to experiment things on live system. Also, there might be personal motive, accidental or human error, and some might be for political cause in order to deal with the opponents. Okay, I want to also give here the recent examples of an insider attack. And these are big organizations, and that shows that if big organizations like this, like Shopify, Amazon, Tesla, can be attacked from inside, it shows that any organization in the world can also be attacked. Like for the Shopify data breach, we're told that 2 members of the Shopify support team abused their access rights to obtain records of customers' transactions for a little under 200 merchants. The data contained in customers' personally identifiable information, they used cost to 1.27% in Shopify stock price. And that actually happened in 2020. The same thing happened to Amazon. There is an insider trading at Amazon where the senior manager disclosing Amazon's confidential financial data to family members so they could trade on it. The manager was accused of making up to $1.4 million from that insider dealings. The same thing happened to Stratis healthcare attack and also even Twitter attack. In Twitter attack, the hackers conducted a chain of social engineering attack on Twitter employees because they know that is, and gain access to the Twitter administrator tools also. Then the attackers posted scam messages on over 130 popular profiles and got up to $180,000 from Twitter users before the company cyber security team were able to seal the breach. The same thing happened to Tesla, though the Tesla own was an happy ending. A Tesla employee rejected a bribe of $1 million to install malware and cooperated with the FBI to help investigate the case. These are examples of insider attack, that the people inside are actually the one attacking and harming the organization. He has also talked about the cost of insider attack. There are direct costs, indirect costs, and lost opportunities too. I won't dwell more on this because Mr. Philip has talked about that. The same thing here. All I want to point out from here is that for these insider incidents, they are ever increasing. You can see from 2016 to 2019, you see that in 2016 it was 10.5. In 2019, it was 4 reports on this insider incident. It might be more than this. So it shows that this thing is ever increasing, and the more reason why we'll need to do something to prevent this. So what are the indicators? He also mentioned some things here. What are the indicators? Malicious insider threat indicators. Things that will show to you that, oh, you need to watch out for this. If you want to prevent an insider threat. And the first one is hard working hours. You see some people, 3 a.m., they are logged onto the network from where you can't even explain. And they are doing one or two things. We have had series of such situation in the past where people will log on at the dead of the night. And because they have access, and they are given access that they don't need, and there is nobody monitoring the access given to them, they are able to come in and cause a lot of havoc. The same thing with the volume of traffic. When you observe that more than usual, there is volume of traffic coming from a particular staff, then you need to actually investigate. And then apart from that, the type of activity too that the staff also engaged in on the network. And when somebody decides not to go on leave for 12 months, he kept on telling you, oh, I love my job. I love my job. I think that might be the time to start investigating. What is under this? I love my job. For 12 months, no vacation. The same thing with lifestyle. And Mr. Philip talked about the background check. The lifestyle of the person suddenly changed. He started driving big cars, something that he couldn't afford, something that his salary could not take in. I think that there is need to start investigating such person. It might not be that he's actually defrauding the organization, but it is good to start that investigation to be sure that he's not defrauding the organization from the inside. Also, bringing disciplinary on increased printer and scanner page. You just observe the person is always printing and always printing. And then if the person is not happy with his appraisal, that might also indicate that he might attack on the inside. So to prevent this insider attack, and some of these things has also been mentioned before, but for emphasis sake, we need to protect the critical assets of the organization. Have biometrics in your data center. Ensure that it is only authorized people that enter into your data center. We have things like that. In one organization, somebody's friend followed him to his data center because he wanted to go and do things. And in the process of entering there and him doing some certain things, he's mistakenly pulled off the cable. And that became fatal because customers from outside were not able to log on. They were not able to access the resources that they needed to monitor the behavior and the user's account. And I think he talked more about that. We can make use of it. There are a lot of tools outside there that can be made use of like the user and event behavior analytics. And there are a lot of database monitoring tools that can be used to do that. And then we have enforced security policies. He talked about that the other time too, about security policies. There are a lot of organizations that have a lot of policies that are not being followed. A lot of policies that are just on paper. Policies are meant to be enforced and penalty within the organization. And I think we need to take that also very, very serious. Instead of overlooking whatsoever people are doing, enforce the policy. Ensure everybody, whether big or small, in your organization, follow the policy and analyze if there is any breach. Apart from that, everybody provides security awareness, and I think that's what they're doing already. God is using Cyber Roots International to do also, to propagate the awareness, to people know, to let the employees know. Let employees know their passwords matters. They didn't know. And some of them, when they are giving password or creating password, they will use the name of their son, they will use the name of their daughter, they will combine the names of their son and daughters together to make their password. Or some of them will use their pets, the date of, we should let them know the consequence of all these things. And let them make that awareness everywhere to the people that there is Mr. Peter about that. There are parties, financial institutions disclosing customers' information. If you have a top party, you hire the top party. The customer don't know anything about that top party. It is between you and that top party. And so you should try to see how you can also monitor the contractor, monitor your vendors to ensure that information are not get from your vendor. Because I will not, as I will not hold you or your I will hold you responsible, because you have done your own due diligence. As an organization I'm dealing with, I shouldn't be having my information flying into the workplace. And this also is very, very important. You shouldn't all be work. Be interested in your staff. Listen to your staff. Get to understand them. Get to know them. Because there are certain employees that are going through a lot from home. I'm not saying you should prognose into their marital affairs or their home affairs, but at least when they are in the office, because if they are good, the organization is good. If they are happy, the organization is happy. If they are comfortable, the organization is. You need to provide incentives to assist them. Go ahead to make sure they are okay. And when you discover that employees are having issues, I'm totally right there to make sure no one is disgruntled. And then the next one is implement secure backup and recovery process. And I'm telling you, so many organizations, they have issues when it comes to backup and recovery. Some organizations have backup. If you ask them, oh, we have a disaster recovery site. Oh, we have a backup. Oh, we have this. We have it. Are you sure when they use all the data back to where they were before?
It's 11 o'clock.
It's always good to test. Test your backup. And the last one here is develop an insider response plan. What are the steps to be taken to mitigate that? I think I will stop right here to take a few questions. Thank you very much, and God bless you.